1 minute. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Could everybody please stand and salute the flag with me? Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Are there any changes to the agenda?
I have two. We're going to pull item 5.6. And then just as a reminder for the public hearing regarding redistricting, that needs to be moved to the beginning of the agenda. So that's item 4.1. And that will need to take place right before the awards presentations, appointments, and proclamations.
Okay, council, do I have an approval for the agenda? Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Ramirez,
Aye.
Councilman Horn,
Aye.
Councilman Atkinson,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Singleton,
Aye.
Mayor Ramsey.
I also vote aye. Okay, we'll go to item 4.1, a public hearing regarding public input on the redrawing of district boundaries and consideration of sample maps. Marissa?
Thank you. I believe our demographer, David Ely, is on the line. There he is. So
Yes.
he does have two draft maps ready, and he can go over what he has tonight.
All right. I will share my screen so I can put the maps up. Let's see if I can find her. This is the same PowerPoint that I showed last week. I'm going to basically scroll through the various pages, and I have the sample maps at the end. So we have the rules for how we're supposed to do this. And then this page is showing the populations of the existing districts. And you can see that districts 1, 2, and 4 are low in population, and districts 3 and 5 have too much population. Remember that the deviation needs to be within 10% from top to bottom. So with these, you've got almost 40% between top to bottom. So let me see, let's do sample 1 first. So I did 2 sample maps that balance things out. In both of them, I move a small area from District 5 to District 4. The brown lines that you can see on the map are the existing district lines, and then the colored districts are what they would be in this sample map. So we have an area between Cherry Lane and Walnut Avenue that would be moving from District 5 into District 4 to bring the populations in those 2 districts to approximately both of them being 3% over the ideal population, which is going to make everything within the acceptable range. And then Additionally, we have an area from Baker Street down to Van Ness, moving from District 1 or from District 2 into District 1. And then also the area between California and, let me see, what's it? Sunset, down to Monroe, moving into District 1 to bring District 1's population up to the necessary amount to get the deviation at about -3%. District 2 started out underpopulated, and we've taken some more population from it with this. And so District 2 has to pick up population from District 3 to bring both of those districts into population. And the difference between these two sample maps are basically in the area that District 2 picks up from District 3. So in sample map 1, we've got this area that is south of Polk Street down to Houston, that is moved into District 2. And in the sample map 2, we have alternatively the area between Elm Avenue and Forest Street going down to the southwest, being moved into District 2. And we haven't had any sort of public input yet or any direction. So these are just samples that I have created, and hopefully at the meeting tonight, I can be given some direction or public input to produce one or more draft maps to show at the next hearing, where the council can give further direction for drafting a final resolution for the 4th meeting. So that is basically my report, and I'll happily answer any questions.
Council, do you have any questions? I have one. Is the state prison and the mental hospital, is it still in District 5? It doesn't show it here.
Yes, all of the discontiguous pieces of the city are in District 5.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, the prison population isn't counted because the state excluded that population, produced an adjusted data set. So in my reports, you see it says census state adjusted population. That has the prison population removed.
Do you know why they removed it?
Well, there was a state law that was passed after the previous redistricting in 2010 or 2011, which required the state required the state prison bureau to collect all of the necessary information to allow the state to do that, and then instructed the statewide database to produce this kind of data set that was supposed to be the official California redistricting data set that's used. The election code requires cities to use that data for doing their redistricting.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, since this is, go ahead. I was gonna open a public hearing. Go ahead.
Yeah. I have a question. In your map, you're going to end up having 2 city councilmen in 1 district that are currently sitting. So that means that District 3 city council member would not be able to run because he's going to be in District 2, and District 2 seat isn't up. So I think you got to find a way to separate those in order to give every sitting member an opportunity to run again.
Yeah, when I created these, I didn't really know where the sitting council people lived, but I would say that between sample 1 and sample 2, the areas that are moving from District 3 into District 2 are mostly separate from each other. I may have had the bad luck of including the residents in the part that gets moved in both of them.
It's only in sample 2 when you run it off of Forest.
Yeah. So that probably would be a reason to prefer sample 1.
Okay, are there any other questions with the council?
We're not making a decision on this tonight.
No. Okay, we're going to open up the public hearing now. If anybody like to say anything on it, anybody in the audience like to say anything?
I'll make it quick. Want to hand out some of our flyers that the chambers are putting on, we're doing the water growth. This is kind of some of the things that we're going to be doing.
This is just for the public hearing right now. We're going to
Oh,
we're going to open it up to the other stuff later. I'm
Whatever
sorry.
other stuff would I do?
Audience to address citizens' comments.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Give my stuff back.
Thank you, Richard.
Let me know when I can come up.
Okay, I will. Okay, Nathan?
Oh, Nathan is good.
Mayor and Council, thanks for allowing me to speak under this public hearing regarding the new districts. I have seen the two maps that are being proposed, 1 and 2. I'm in favor of map 1 and not so much in favor of map 2 for a variety of reasons. First, there was some direction the demographer gave at the last meeting pertaining to the maps. Comply with federal equal population, geographically contiguous, undivided neighborhoods and communities, easily identified borders, compact, do not bypass one group of people, shall not favor or discriminate against a party, minimize the number of voters delayed from voting 22 to 24, respect voters' choices, continuity in office, and future population growth. Other things that there was noted was common issues and neighborhood activities, similar levels of income, languages spoken at home, and multiple family housing units. In the first issue that I have is that the second map splits up Fox Hollow that is separated by a highway to be included in D2. To me, that is one, not geographically contiguous, and 2, divides our neighborhood away from Stallion Springs, which we share a common road, which is Forest, with the entrances and exits adjacent from each other. We already have a neighborhood watch program that includes both areas. 3, these are not easily identifiable boundaries as it spans over a highway, and probably most important, that it does not respect the voter's choice and continuing in office by districting Mr. Singleton out of being able to run for re-election. When I was on council, and from what I've seen from other councils, we respect those rights of the people that are in office to be able to run again. The last point is I'd like to point out is that the financial shift. There's a huge financial shift when you look in the differences of these maps in between map 1 and map 2 for D2 and D3. If you look at the 150K mark, in map 1, 30.1% making less than 150K and 11.5 making 150K and above. And then map 2 has it 27.2 making less than 150K and only 9.7 making that above the 150K. And if you look at what that does to District 2 currently, it takes those numbers 12.4 making more than 150K. And then on the second version, it's actually 14% over 150K. So that dramatically shifts the financials in those if you go with map number 2. which, you know, I don't think that that the financial thing, I think that basically all of those things that he listed that said, you know, we need to look at, I think that NAP 2 closer projects what we should do than map 1. And then there's a lot of other stuff in here, but you guys all have that in front of you. And so I just wanted to point that out. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nathan. Is there anybody else? Okay, not seeing anybody. We're going to go ahead and close the public hearing. So we'll go back to
You're at 2.1.
Okay. Okay, now we're going to go back to awards, presentations, and appointments and proclamations. 2.1, presentation of a plaque in honor of the police department's assistance on the Creek Fire, presented by Fresno County Sheriff Margaret Mims. Margaret?
Good evening, Mayor,
Sheriff.
Council. It is an honor to be here tonight to recognize the city of Coalinga and your police department for the assistance that they gave during our historic Creek Fire. I want to just interrupt for a moment to introduce and present to you your new area commander, Lieutenant Brandon Purcell, who's here with me tonight. He just will be transferred effective Monday, I believe. So he will be your go-to guy for the sheriff's office. And I'm proud to have him represent us. I explained to him the area commanders represent me directly in our communities. So with that, the Creek Fire occurred September 4th, 2020, during the busiest weekend for recreation in our Sierra Mountains. That particular holiday weekend, the Creek Fire started on a Friday and was huge by Sunday evening, and over the duration, over 28,000 people were evacuated. 28,000, and to this day it remains the largest single fire in the state's history. Now, you might have heard of fires that had more acreage that burned, but they were complex fires, which means it's several fires that came together. Ours was the single largest fire. What's most important to remember is, with the assistance of law enforcement throughout Fresno County, 0 lives were lost. And you don't hear about that from other fires. We had 0 loss of life, and it is as a result of the cooperation that we got from all agencies, no matter how large, no matter how small. If you were able to send someone, everyone did, and even the smallest amount of assistance made a big difference. So over 800 structures, most of those family homes and cabins were lost during that fire. As a result of this fire, we also designed and produced a challenge coin. You may have seen the challenge coins that become collector's items. And this one is for the Creek Fire. On one side is the sheriff's badge that have the communities affected by the Creek Fire along the rim. On the back side, it has the mountain area where the Creek Fire burned with the point of origin, and the fact that there were 0 fatalities. So with that, I want to ask Chief Garza to come up. I will say Chief Garza and I have worked many years together. Dare I say decades? And again, you might have a small agency, but you were a large, large help in that fire. The officers from Coalinga ended up working in areas I'm sure they never imagined that they would be, in terrain that I'm sure they never thought they would be working, in the mountain areas. They might have helped with evacuations, but they also might have helped with livestock and animals and roadblocks. You never knew what you were going to get assigned to do. The important thing is when we put out the call, you responded. So with that, Chief Garza, let me present this to the Police Department of Coalinga, and thank you for your assistance. Well done, and I appreciate you so much.
Thank you very much. It's all
Do you want to say anything? Okay, well, we'll go back.
Good. I just want to say, the Sheriff Mims, thank you for the county being such a great partner, and it's good to be back working with you again.
Cool. You know, I don't want to leave out, but even though we recognize our law enforcement partners, I cannot say enough about our fire partners as well. The CAL FIRE, the work they did before and after really gave us the time to evacuate people, so there was no loss of life. And I think that's important, that I want to thank you for your law enforcement mutual aid, but give so much credit to the fire agencies that were involved as well.
Definitely. Which was our agency, was out there for several weeks from Kalinga.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Comments from the council?
I would just like to thank you for everything you've ever helped us with. I mean, you've been a great partner all these years I've been here too. And anytime we've needed anything from the county and we've needed your help, you've been right there with us, hand in hand. So thank you very much. Anybody else like to say
And we're sad to see you go.
Be happy for me.
anything? Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have an update on Highway 33 improvement projects. We have a lady from Caltrans here.
And Mayor, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Jeannie and just kind of give you some background as Larry already has it up. But tonight we're just kind of here to present the updated concept on the Highway 33 improvement project that we've been discussing with council that pretty much started back in about 2018, which kind of, as we talked about the road diet concept, as well as then led into the big improvement project that Caltrans is undertaking on the full stretch of Highway 33 through town. Jeannie from Caltrans will be presenting the concept plan as a result of the draft project report that they prepared as part of their processes. And tonight we're just looking for some feedback prior to the public circulation of the report and the environmental documentation for the project. And then during that public comment period, we'll coordinate a workshop with Caltrans staff and the public here. We can do in council chambers, because a lot of times Caltrans will do workshops during that public comment period to get more input from the public regarding the full project, as well as the conceptual plans for the road diet as well, and the complete streets components of that project. And then soon after, staff will bring a support resolution back to the council for support of the project continuing to move forward. So with that, Jeannie, if you wanted to provide some information.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name's Jeannie Wiley. I'm the project manager for the project. This originally started out as just a rehab project for us that we had programmed back in 2020. You can change the slide, please. And then in conferring with the city of Kalinga and finding out that they had an active transportation grant going on, that was also going to be on the same stretch of highway that we were doing our improvements. We collaborated with them. And it just happened that at that same time, Caltrans came out with Complete Streets reservation funding. It was a completely new program, and it was a highly competitive process throughout California to receive the specialized funding for small communities such as you. There was only 2 awarded in our district, in District 6, and this is one of them. So it was a feat. We got an additional $2.4 million in that grant money to be able to incorporate all of the Complete Streets elements within our project. So it went from being just a simple pavement rehabilitation to a complete renovation of your main downtown street. So it was quite a feat. In that, so since I've last presented to you, it's been a year already, and we've refined our project scope. We've been working collaboratively with the city for the last year, making sure that everything's incorporated, that we've gone through every single element, and we are proud to say that that was just completed. We are doing our draft project report right now. We believe we're going to have it approved in April. Upon then, it'll be circulated out to the community for comments. And within that same time period, we will also have a workshop here in Coalinga so that everybody can come and view it. Also, what happened is that in refining all of those elements, we actually found out we needed to incorporate more. And so I have gone back and requested an additional 2.28 million so that we can incorporate elements like the Hawk system that will go along with the city's new trail where they have to cross SR 33. And so we're going to have a system there that will allow people to cross the highway safely. So the new total construction cost is now $13.425 million. Next slide, please. So here are all the complete street elements that now have been incorporated into the project. There's 6.4 lane miles of asphalt pavement rehabilitation, excuse me. We have a road diet on SR 33, just like we presented last year, from Elm and 5th Street to Cambridge. We've got 20 crosswalks that we are now putting in, 8 that has the rectangular rapid flashing beacons and 12 with enhanced visibility, 59 curb ramps. There's 10 new curbs and then 49 that are out of compliance and will be upgraded. There's 1,850 lineal feet of new bike lanes. I believe that whole thing is, what, around 4 miles? Somebody can do that quick calc in their head, 5280. It's about 4 miles worth. Now, with that, and we've collaborated heavily with the city, is that it will eliminate some on-street parking, but we've looked at that and it won't impact any of your businesses. We also have 1,180 lineal feet of sidewalk, 800 of which is new, and 380 feet. So you'll have a continuous sidewalk through all of your downtown. There won't be any more gaps. The conflict green paint zones actually go with the bike lanes. So they will be striped green so that everybody knows it's a bike lane. 2 pedestrian refuge islands that go along within the diet. And then 29 new curb extensions and bulb outs, and of course the 1 high-intensity activated crosswalk, which we term a Hawk, that will be for the new trail crossing. I have Jason Fisher with me today from Parsons Engineering. He is the design engineer. We have a few slides to walk you through all of the proposed enhancements, and I'll give it over to Jason. Jason, are you there in virtual world?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Thanks, Jeannie. So I'm Jason Fisher with Caltrans, part of the design team. I can go ahead and share my screen if that's easier.
Or I can just, you can tell them just to switch the, whatever you want.
Okay. You go ahead and continue on to the next slide.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, that's the schedule. Oh, Jason, let me go through the schedule real quick.
Okay.
Sorry, not following my own slideshow. So the approved draft project report is in April. It'll be circulated out to the public. Mid-April, we'll have the public workshop in May. The final project report and the environmental document would be approved by June. Ready to list is when the plan's set. We call it PS&E. plan specs will be done, and it will go out to be advertised and bid, with award and construction happening in late summer, early fall of 2024. Next slide, please. All right, you're on, Jason.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so the project itself spans approximately 2 miles from Merced Avenue to Worthing Creek on the southern end to the Los Gatos Creek on the north end of the project, shown in red. Next slide. And here we have a rendering of what the road diet concept will look like from 5th Street to Cambridge Avenue, which is approximately a 1 mile length of the road diet, where we would reduce the 2 lanes to 1 lane in each direction, and then add a 2-way left turn lane in the median, along with a buffered bike path and street parking, all within the existing corridor. Next slide. So here is the southern end of the project near Merced Avenue and Worthing Creek. So as Jeannie mentioned, that this project will completely rehabilitate all of the existing pavement throughout the project limits. And then it'll bring up, just to meet ADA requirements, all of the curb ramps that are not compliant, and the addition of a few new curb ramps where crosswalks are being added. And then specifically in this segment, there's a shared use bike lane being implemented here, where we're restricted by the bridge across Worthing Creek. And then on the next slide, we begin to implement some of the buffered bike paths where the existing curb width allows the room to meet standard. And then in addition, on this slide, we are implementing 2 new crosswalks, one at Garfield and one at Hockman Street, to introduce some more connectivity for pedestrians through the different neighborhoods and the parks and the commercial businesses in the area. And on the next slide, please. Here we at Polk Street and 5th Street, the bike lanes become fully buffered for the rest of the project here, where there's room. And then there's a few more new crosswalks being implemented here, as shown at Ivy Street and near Hayes Street. Next slide, please. And here is intersection of 5th and Elm Street. This is on the far right of the screen is where the road diet would begin, going down the page or towards the north. North is upside down on the screen. But that rendering we first looked at would begin at this intersection. Next slide. And the road diet continues north here. Couple of features. There's some sidewalk gap closures where there's some missing sidewalk along both sides of the street are being filled in. And no new crosswalks on this particular sheet other than just some enhancements to the existing. Next slide, please. And then here, we're adding a new crosswalk near the Dollar General at Van Ness Street. And then we're enhancing one of the existing crosswalks in the middle of the slide there with some rectangular rapid flashing beacons. And then the Truman intersection is being reconfigured with some better striping to add the turn lane and implement that to be a little safer with the bike lanes coming through. as well. Next slide. And here we're getting close to the north end of the project. There's a new crosswalk being added there, Cherry Lane. And then there's some additional sidewalk gap closures on the east side of the street there, which has been coordinated with the site plan of the development going in. I believe it's currently approved, so that all aligns together and is cohesive.
Jason, sorry to interrupt, but this is Sean. Just when he talks about that's the property across the street from the college for the senior housing project. So we just make sure we coordinated based on that current driveway where the site plan identifies that driveway. We're having them put that driveway in, or at least the curb cuts in. So that's all there when we're not disrupting the new improvements. Go ahead, Jason, sorry.
Okay. And a little bit to the north of that, on the far right of the page, there's some more sidewalk gap closure. I believe that's the last missing piece in the project. As Jeannie said, I think there's a total of 1,200 linear feet of new sidewalk being implemented so that there's no more gaps throughout the corridor. Next slide. And then here is where the hawk system is going to be proposed to be implemented for the future bike trail proposed along the creek. And this, given that it's crossing at in between two intersections, we're proposing this high intensity activated crosswalk to be a safe haven for pedestrians who are crossing the facility. And then we end right at the Los Gatos Creek Bridge. I believe that's the last slide.
Are there any questions that we can answer?
I got one. They can't be adjustment, can they? Adjustments? Like when I'm talking about right there at the Los Gatos Creek, right there on Phelps, you guys can't extend it? That's already in set, or?
Extend,
So, yeah, we're
We
right
go
there on
back?
Phillips.
yeah, on Phelps?
Okay, yeah. You guys can't extend, there's no extension of doing that. I know you guys are stopping on Cambridge, I believe, or on the
Oh, I
bridge.
see, to extend the
Yeah,
project
because-
limits to incorporate Phelps Avenue?
Yeah, because the district, West Hills College District office is right there, and I've noticed that there's a little trail, and there's a lot of people already crossing with kids and everything. There's a lot more kids walking towards that area, and, that's why I was asking that question, if we could do an adjustment, or you guys can do an adjustment towards, all the way to Phelps.
Yeah, it just needs another.
You're looking at just like high visibility crosswalks?
Yeah,
or
or
striping,
right after
or-
the bridge on the stoplights, right there, if we could have, we have crosswalks right there on Cambridge, right there, yeah.
Yeah, more visible.
Yeah, I see a lot of kids just going over there, crossing through there, and not crossing towards Cambridge, and, because they cross towards the soccer fields up to the west, so they cross along the concrete, but if they could get a crosswalk right there, it would be kind of a safety precautious thing for them.
I don't see why.
The stoplight on
I don't see
Phelps.
Why not?
Yeah, the stoplight on Phelps, yeah, if you guys can't put a crosswalk right there?
Well, if you want a stop signal or a stop,
There's a signal there already.
there's a signal
There's
there
a signal there already,
already.
yes. But not a
There's no
crosswalk.
crosswalk.
But there's no crosswalks. I don't see why not. It's just paint. I mean,
Yeah,
right, I'm not going to extend any pavement. It'd be different if I had to extend more pavement to
yeah,
it.
yeah. Because right there where you have, right, a little, that empty area, there's the West Hills district office, and they have a little trail, and I would like for it to continue it to the other side of the street.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
I would say yes. There isn't any reason. I mean, it's a simple ask.
Now, there are currently crosswalks there.
Yeah.
So are you looking for
So
Looking for improvements, like more high visibility crosswalks, like
yeah.
with the bit with the bars? Okay,
yeah.
so it just looks like enhancing the sidewalks similar to what we've done in the rest of the project, I think is what
Right.
they're looking at.
Could you explain just a little bit about how that works, that system, the Hawk system works?
So what happens is that they press a button and then the lights come on and flash. And then that way traffic knows to stop.
So when it's
For
flashing,
crossing?
they have to stop?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Yeah.
What's the speed limit gonna be right there?
It's still, I think, right there. The reason for the Hawk, when we were talking with Caltrans, was the reason for the Hawk is because of the speed still coming into town is like 40, I think it's 45 still.
Yeah.
So they don't really slow down until they hit Cambridge. So because of the speed, they wanted the Hawk signal. The really cool thing about the Hawk signal is that because it's going to be it's tied to the trail, that when someone comes on, say on a bike, you can actually loop the bike, put the loops in the bike like you do for the sensors in the road for signals, and it can actually change as they're approaching, so they can continuously go through as well. So there are some other features that the city could potentially add as we build the trail, but we started this conversation with them knowing that we were going to have to look at crossings on the highway, and so this was the solution that Caltrans had brought to us, and I from staff's perspective, we thought that it was a good approach, knowing that there's not enough room to go under the bridge in order to cross these highways. And then we'll be subsequently looking at an active transportation grant to put a Hawk at Lucille and Elm to get the crossing at the south end of town as well. So Caltrans had, they're, like Jeannie mentioned, they're actively looking for funding for this particular Hawk here at near Cambridge to be able to facilitate that crossing, since we're in the environmental phase of both phases of the trail that are going to cross right there.
They're not cheap. They're like $350,000.
Yeah.
They're an expensive little item,
Wow.
but they work very well. Jason, do you have anything you can access real quick on the Hawk at your disposal, or no?
I have a rendering of it here that I could zoom in on. Let's see if I can.
Now, would that Hawk interfere with like the streetlights we're putting in at Cambridge and?
No, we would
Belts right
coordinate
there?
the streetlights. That would be something they'd have to synchronize up with all three. I know they're kind of close, but it's just where
I
the
was gonna
trail
say,
is.
it looks like it's boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing that's on Washington Street?
We don't have any Hawks. We don't have any.
Yeah.
Washington Street, how is it different than Washington?
That's called that's a rectangular rapid flashing beacon, RRFB. So when Jeannie mentioned all the RRFBs that are going to be up, those are the ones that flash. This is more like, it's not as big as like Cambridge and Elm signal, but it's more of a signal arm. It's got masts with, I think it's got a yellow and a red on it. So,
Yeah.
but it's only activated by pedestrians. It's not activated by vehicles. So.
Right.
Much more serious.
Yes.
And that's actually the Hawk going over right there?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that would be a lot better, yeah.
Oh, do they?
There you go.
All my grandkids walk that way, right where the Hawk is
Yeah.
going to be, so I'm very happy about it.
Well, we figured it was a better solution than having them take the trail, walk down to the nearest intersection, cross, and then come back.
Because one of the
Kind of
conversations we
breaks
had.
up your whole.
And one of the conversations we had is that we really try to strive to put crossings in locations where people are going to cross, right? So when we look at Elm Avenue, we did the walk to school day when we did the ATP, and we found where kids naturally walk. And where they naturally walk is where we want to try and put these crossings, even though it's not too far from Cambridge. But the reality is that when you come up to that trailhead right there and you see the other side of the trail right there,
Yeah.
you're gonna cross.
You're going to cross.
You're not going
it's
to go
unrealistic.
around, and so I think the reality is that we need to making those decisions because we know they're gonna go there anyways. It makes more sense.
I have a question, like on the one Walnut that crosses into the college parking lot.
That's
Now,
back
was
on the
gonna
other
be-
one,
When you
or
cross,
down.
you're just gonna,
We need to go back.
Go back one slide,
Go back one slide, please. So.
right in the middle.
where
Right in the
you said
middle.
the senior living was going in?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you have to have, is the reason that crosswalk is still there, is it because you're gonna have the senior living? Because that is the worst place. My daughter had, she had to go to a performance at the gym one night, wasn't well lit. I mean, the cars were just flying by, never stopping. The sidewalk was just there, the crosswalk.
Well,
You know, you had to wait. But what I'm thinking is you stop at Cambridge, you're gonna go full barrel. You're not gonna all of a sudden, somebody's crossing it, you're gonna have to make a sudden stop and then stop again on Cambridge. Is it, the purpose wasn't to eliminate it because of the senior living?
no,
Get rid of it?
it's to enhance it. It's to enhance it. So the actually be a high visibility crosswalk similar to the areas around the schools, as well as including the rectangular rapid flashing beacons. So they'll be nice and bright. So when someone activates it, it's going to be extremely bright. And I know Caltrans doesn't have any lighting features in their project, but as the city progresses through its acquisition of the streetlights in town, the goal is to really try to heavily light areas that we have these issues with, certain neighborhoods and on our main corridors. And we've had a lot of issues with the lights going out. A lot of our decorative lights, the ornamental lights on Elm, have started to go out. So then, as part of the acquisition process, we'll be retrofitting those to all the LED as well. So a little bit brighter, a little bit clearer light. So with the enhanced sidewalk plus the rapid flashing beacons, it's really going to make this a visible crosswalk.
Yeah, it'll give them a heads up from coming in onto Cambridge and then going.
Yeah, and one thing with the complete streets elements is going to slow traffic down. I think people are still getting used to Cambridge. Once it's actually up and running, it slows traffic down because you have the single lane and then the left-hand turn lanes.
Question, when will that Cambridge light fixture be up and going?
It was supposed to be last week, and unfortunately, I'm not throwing Jeannie under the bus because she's a whole different division of Caltrans, but it's through permits. PG&E and Caltrans permits are dealing with the encroachment permit to get access. So,
Darn it, Sean.
I know. Sorry. No, they're working out the encroachment permit process to get out there and energize. They've done all the other curb ramp improvements in anticipation of energizing, so we're very close.
Would be, well, I'm hoping that it comes up soon, because the other day we had an out-of-town appointment. My husband decided to take Cambridge at 8 o'clock when the kids are going to school. I usually go, because we live on Nevada, go all the way to Washington, come around on Elm to get out, to get to doctors or wherever to get out of town. We made it, man, maybe 10 minutes.
That's exactly the reason why we're putting the signal in, is because it has been, and even without the signal, it's just the same as it was before until we get that energized. So I'm with you. I'm ready.
Well, I do have to say that PG&E is way behind on doing a lot of their work.
Very.
They're very, very behind. So they have to be the ones that come out and energize the system. We don't do that.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, we have another question from Nathan behind you.
Looking at the current map right there, we have quite a few businesses on both sides of the street, coming down Elm, past, all the way, basically on both sides of the street, 5th and Elm, 4th and Elm, those areas, and you said it wasn't going to impact those businesses, but I don't see a place on there for street parking. Is there still going to be street parking on those streets? And is there going to be a bike lane next to it? Or are they not going to have street parking and they're going to have to park in the parking lot?
There will be street parking on the entire segment.
Way there's going to be street parking on Elm.
Yes. So if go back to slide 6. So that's exactly the concept of what it will look like on Elm Avenue.
Okay, and is it going to be on the other side too, or is parking only going to be
Both
on
sides.
So there will be on both sides.
Yes, that was one of the things that was a non-starter if we were going to lose on-street parking.
Okay, perfect. Thank you
Right.
so much.
You're welcome.
And last question, what is the speed limit gonna be taken down to on Elm Street if you're, let's say, within, the fast trip to the main downtown area?
I don't know if we would actually adjust the speed limits. Is what, 35 now?
Yes?
But no one drives 35, so it would probably stay, I would imagine it would stay at 35.
I
But we would
really
have to-
don't know that. I'd have to ask our
Yeah.
traffic department.
Well, the reason I ask this is because it was, when this thing was first brought forward, one of the ideas of taking away lanes was in order to take away visibility with the bike lanes and the buffers so that it would take down the speed limit. And so I'm curious about that, if it's gonna take the speed limit down below 35, or if people are gonna continue to be able to travel 35.
I can't imagine it going below 35,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Or you're gonna have more traffic on one lane instead of two
Yeah.
lanes.
Yeah,
So
it's
It
true.
will slow down
It will slow down naturally.
automatically, I think.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from anybody? Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your time.
Okay, now we're going to go to citizens' comments. This section of the agenda allows members of the public to address the city council on any item within the jurisdiction of the council. Members of the public, when recognized by the mayor, should come forward to the lectern, identify themselves, use a microphone, and comments are normally limited to 3 minutes. In accordance with state open meeting laws, no action will be taken by the city council this evening, and all items will be referred to staff for a follow-up and report. Citizens' comments submitted in writing to the city clerk by 5 o'clock on the day of the city council meeting shall be distributed to the city council and included in the record. However, they will not be read. Is there anybody who would like to address the city council? Mr. Hill?
I'm just trying to get camera time. All right, Chief, I'm gonna give it to you one more time. You can keep it this time, okay? Okay, I'm here kind of on the chamber side of it. Scott and all of us have been working, Nathan, you still here? Nathan, we've been working on Mardi Gras. Nathan, as a matter of fact, was doing the swamp thing, I think, right? Yes, sir. This event that we're putting on for the citizens, because we know the citizens are looking to do stuff, because we've had a bad couple of years with COVID and everything. So this event is going to be a pretty large event. We have a lot of, as you look at those folders, we have a lot of stuff going on. We got bounce houses, we got food vendors, we got local vendors coming out. And our main objective was really do stuff for the kids, to give stuff for the kids to do and keep them safe. We do have a beer garden. And I'm sure the chief will make sure that we do that right. We're going to have some special little rides for the kids. We have a parade that's going to be on Saturday. It's going to start over by the high school school bus parking lot, come down Sunset. And we got a pet parade on Sunday. What else we got? Jim, you're going to be playing out there, right? Doing something? So we got a lot of stuff going on. I just wanted to make sure that you guys got some folders, and if you had any questions about what's going on, ask Nathan. No. Scott's doing a good job. All the people that are doing on the board are doing a good job. We got a lot of people volunteering. We got a lot of high school kids volunteering. It's going to be a pretty cool event for our community, and we hope to continue this idea. I remember we did Mardi Gras a few years ago, 2008 or whatever. We did 3 of them, and they were very successful. So we're hoping that this one, a 3-day event, will keep people happy and give them something to do, and get the year started out right. So if you have any questions about it, we'll try to answer them. Or we look forward. We'd like to see you guys out there too. If you'd like for you guys to come out and make an appearance and say hi, so we can say, yeah, there they are. Yeah. Gonna play. Yeah, we got a card game go. We got a poker thing. We got roulette going. We got what is it? Blackjack. We got blackjack. Thank you. So we got those vendors, I mean, and you can win up to $4,000 or $5,000. Can't gamble, you know that. But we're going to have stuff that you can get. You trade your tickets in. I went and got a bunch of stuff today from Ace Hardware, who's very much, you know, has donated some stuff for this thing. So we got a lot of local vendors and businesses that are involved that are donating. So I'd like to have you guys come out and support it. Get the chief out there. I know Sean will be out there, right, Sean? Sean will be doing the bear thing. So if you guys got any questions or anything, Fire Chief, you got any questions if we've done everything right? Okay, cool. You know, if we're all
Thank you very
late-
much, Richard.
Huh?
Thank you
Okay,
very
so
much.
we'll look forward to seeing you guys out there, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
I'm Hilda Crawford, tonight's your night for handouts, sorry. But I'm with the library, and we are hosting several events. I just want to pass these out so you can see what we're doing. This is also for your little ones, and something that they can get involved, come into the library. If any of you do not have library cards, I want to see your bodies over at the library getting library cards. And if you have one within the San Joaquin Valley, you're okay. You can use them here. Okay. The first one is the blood drive. I know that this police department just had one, and I had no idea that they were having one. So we are hosting one. They will be on 5th and Cedar. The bus will be there on Saturday, as you can see, from 10 to 2. So if you didn't get a chance to go to the police one, then you can come to ours. Starting March 12th and the 19th, we will be having a book sale at our library. And there are the dates and the times. The Kiwanis Club is helping. If you have any high school students that need community hours, we can take volunteers. They can come in and sign up to work the book sale. And if you yourself want to volunteer, you're more than welcome. We're happy to have you guys there. Also, if you want to donate any books at this time, if you have a chance with your busy schedules to clean out your bookcase, we're taking donations for books. And it'll be held in our program room.
Hilda, can I ask you, for people who are listening, what is the price range for books that you sell?
Oh, gosh, not very high. You know, maybe new books are $2. The older ones are $1. These are hardbound books. And paperbacks children's might be quarter, 50 cents, and then paperbacks maybe 10 cents. But we'll have more than books, I think. Nathan, are we going to have computers? We'll have computers as well for sale. So just come in and come help if you like. Now, the last little flyer is, we do this every year. We partner with In-N-Out Burgers. So it starts March 5th this Saturday, and it goes to the 16th. All you have to do is want to earn a free hamburger or a cheeseburger is you come in, and it's easy. You read 5 books. And you'll get a certificate for every 5 books that you read. Your child between the ages of 4 to 12 years old will get a In-N-Out Burger certificate. So your child can earn 3 either hamburgers or cheeseburgers. So just come by and come visit us and just partake. Come, be part of the library.
Is there a limit on pages in a book?
No, there isn't. We encourage, in the summer, we have a summer reading program. So your children can do, if they cannot read, well, if they're struggling to read at 4, you can read to them. And they can do graphic novels. They can come in, know it. It doesn't matter, it's honor system. As long as you read, I don't care if it's the newspaper or if it's 5 pages out of a book, you're reading. So that's the encouragement, is to get them to read. Then parents can take them to In-N-Out Burger and get 1 free hamburger or cheeseburger. Okay, just come in and the front desk, like we said, we start Saturday.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Nathan Vosberg, current District 3. And if I misspoke earlier about the districts and stuff with which one I wanted, my personal opinion would be the first one. It is a convoluted thing to look at. It absolutely is, and there's a lot of numbers and stuff like that in there. But I wanted to thank you guys for having that public hearing on that. Also, the Caltrans thing, thank you for being willing to schedule a workshop on that and bring in the businesses and the people, because I just want people to know what's going on. What they did today was very informative. A lot of people I talked to thought they were going to lose parking. And so that's a great thing that you guys just did right now, on that, allowing, and you know what? Shame on the public, for not showing up, because we want them to show up. And a lot of times we don't say, hey, why should we lead them, but I think the city does have somewhat of an obligation, maybe not legally contractual, but, transparency-wise, to try and keep the public informed. And I think that it lets the public trust the council, and so I appreciate that. And then I wanted to say, I hope you guys approve item 5.3, the loan forgiveness. I hope you guys can find a way to bring a dog park. It's a great thing. Whether the city owns it or whether the city just funds it and hands it off to somebody, I think it's a much needed thing. The other one is kind of an embarrassment, and I would never take my dog to that park. But beyond that, you guys are doing a great job, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
May I allow to get back up again?
Yes. Only because it's you.
Oh,
No,
thank you,
I'm
Ron.
just kidding.
My
Just
rec
kidding.
leader when I was growing up. Thank you. I just have a concern. I see everybody riding the little bird scooters. And I just have a few questions. The paperwork says that you have to be 18 years of age. I've seen little guys, elementary, that can't even look over the handlebars riding them. I've seen them. I was coming to my foundation meeting for the thrift store, and they were on the plaza, and I know they probably can't be on sidewalks, but they were not really paying attention to the road and in crossing. And I was just thinking, I know Adam's real big on liability, but I just was wondering if they cause an accident, or if I myself have not ridden one, because I'd be in a body cast, but if they cause an accident or they get hit, is it the parent that's liable for it because they signed up to use it and they paid for them to ride it? And another thing is, if the bike chief, if you ride a bicycle, it's required a helmet. You have to ride a helmet, or is that required? Does riding the scooter require a helmet? I'm just concerned about I know they go quite fast, and I've seen them, and they're great that you have them because you can get to point A to point B without a vehicle. But my thing is, if, they're underage and riding them and then not causing an accident or dodging in front of someone, what happens then? Does anybody know? I'm just curious.
Yeah,
Just
we can
wanted
get
to-
back to you on that later.
Okay. You can reach me at the library when you come
Right.
get your library card.
Okay. I have one. I have a
You do?
library card.
I'm gonna check.
Okay. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Mary?
Mary Jones, I just have a question, and that is on the one that talked about Sunset Street Parkway. What is that? About rock, decorative rock? What are we talking about? Thanks.
Oh,
You can just-
5.5.
I'll pull that one so we can talk about it, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, is there anybody else?
I'll pull it.
Okay. Next, we'll go to introduce and waive the first reading of ordinance number 850, approving the city initial zoning text amendment number ZTA 2102, amending the planning and zoning code related to towing and impound yards, dry cleaning establishments, and various classifications and cleanup language related to various commercial uses and their associated development regulations. Sean?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We've come to the exciting part of the meeting. I know you guys are excited. So tonight, as the mayor had read, that we're recommending introducing and waiving the first reading of ordinance number 850, approving the city-initiated zoning text amendment, amending the planning and zoning code regarding towing yards, dry cleaning, and various clarification language in the current zoning code. So on December 2nd, 2021, the City Council voted to initiate a zoning text amendment to update the city's planning and zoning regulations related to towing and impound facilities and dry cleaning establishments. In addition, when a zoning text amendments are initiated and processed, staff likes to address areas of the code where the text in the zoning code need clarification or deletion to ensure consistency in the code's application and intent of the regulations for consideration. On February 22nd, the Planning Commission held a notice public hearing to consider the zoning text amendment and approved resolution number 022P001, recommending approval to the City Council. So I'll just kind of hit high points on the updated language. A copy of the ordinance is in the report attached, so you can kind of see what language changes have been proposed. So the proposed text amendment makes changes to towing and impound, which basically moves towing and impound to be permitted in both the manufacturing business high zones and the manufacturing business light zones, which are basically our light industrial zones. Currently, it's only in the high industrial zone, and the only location in town right now is actually the garlic plant. So there's not really room for business expansion in this space due to the restricted zoning designation. So that would be the recommendation for that particular amendment, which then would make them subject to a conditional use permit when they apply for a permit in those zones. In terms of dry cleaning facilities, the city currently has two definitions that address dry cleaning facilities. They're relatively vague. It's not very specific in terms of how these dry cleaning facilities operate. Currently, it talks about industry limited, and then there's a lot of uses that are incorporated in that definition. It identifies as commercial laundries and dry cleaning plants. And then under personal services, which are kind of like your other classifications like barber and beauty shops, massage parlors, shoe repair shops, laundromats. It includes dry cleaning agents, excluding large-scale bulk cleaning plants. And so when we looked at the definition, there's not really definitions for these different types of activities. So in one, you have commercial laundries and dry cleaning plants, and then you have dry cleaning agents, excluding large-scale bulk cleaning plants. So you have four different terms, but you really have not consistency in the definitions. So in the amendment, we updated to three different definitions. One, which is a dry cleaning agency for drop-off and pickup only, and then no laundry or dry cleaning equipment on the premises. So basically, essentially a location where you're going to drop your dry cleaning off. They're going to take that and go to another, like a larger plant where they're receiving multiple drop-off spots. And then you have a retail dry cleaner, which is kind of a new concept for within our realm, how we wanted to fix this was more of a dry cleaning establishment where the dry cleaning and laundry equipment is permitted on the premises, and such services are performed on articles brought in directly from the customer to the establishment. And this includes delivery of the articles to the retail customer, where the dry cleaning establishment directly possesses such articles. So basically, you would take it to that location, and they would be the ones that would process the dry cleaning for you. And then you have wholesale dry cleaning, which is basically like your larger scale dry cleaning plant. So in other cities where you'll have drop-off areas, but they don't actually process anything. They may do some folding or pressing, or maybe some even regular laundry, but they're going to ship all the dry cleaning out to a larger plant, and then the delivery is going to come back. So that's the result in that is really the change in those definitions, and then correlate that to permitted and non-permitted uses in the land use table, which you can see in the ordinance. So typically a dry cleaning agency would be permitted by right in our commercial zones. Retail dry cleaner, which would include the equipment, would be subject to a conditional use permit. So then we can actually look at the operational plan, make sure that we're not looking at a miniature plant in a commercial space, something that's going to be smaller scale that will fit in commercial space. And then your wholesale dry cleaning. And then some of the cleanup language that staff has identified, some of the language has to do with service stations with vehicle washing facilities, general office and telecommunication facilities, and really more geared toward the facilities within buildings. And then in addition, with limited nature of office space and the intent to the city to encourage business development, the regulations of limited office space in the service commercial district zone is accessory to a principal commercial use is limiting and has created several non-conforming uses throughout the city. And so with the changes, we're recommending removing these regulations to limit non-conforming uses and improve office space opportunity in the city. So basically it's opening up more office space zoning designations. So pretty much an office would be permitted in any commercial zone. And so I adopted a copy of the ordinance, or attached a copy of the ordinance. And in terms of public notification, on February 10th, a joint public hearing notice, which I know we've talked about in the past. We were able to utilize that with the timeframes of the council meetings, where we were able to do a joint public hearing notice for both the Planning Commission and the council, which allowed us, based on just from the 22nd, to have another meeting on tonight for this first reading, and then bring back the second reading and adopt and formal codification at the next council meeting. So with that, this is a public hearing, Mayor, so if there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them from the council. And that's my presentation.
Okay. Are there any questions from the council? Okay, we'll go ahead and open up the public hearing. Is there anybody who would like to say anything on this? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And Sean, thank you very much for your information.
I'll be staying here, I think. Oh, no, you guys have consent calendar first. Thanks. Please adopt the resolution.
No, we don't have to. That's just a public hearing, right? Yeah. Okay, next we'll go to consent calendar. Oh, we do? Okay. Oh, okay. Gentlemen, what would you like to do? Would you like to, okay, somebody make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded.
That has to include introducing it and waiving the first reading. I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does.
Who was the other guy? I want him back.
Our other guy?
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to introduce and waive the first reading. Is that good, Mario?
Perfect.
Of Ordinance 850.
You went too far.
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman Atkinson?
Aye.
Councilman Ramirez?
Aye.
Councilman Horn?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Singleton?
Aye.
Mayor Ramsey?
I also vote aye. Thank you. Okay, next we'll go to the consent calendar. We have 7 different ones. Anybody like to pull anything?
I'm gonna pull number
5.5?
5 so Mary can understand
5.5?
what we're doing. And I'd like to make a small change to number 3. Instead of it just being for Kalinga residents, because we're hurting so bad, why don't we just open it up to anybody who applies to the police department and needs to go to the academy to be eligible for the loan that we may give out. Because if we're limiting it just to Kalinga residents, I feel like we're not helping so much because of how bad that we need officers right now. I mean, we could look at it again at a later time.
So anybody for the,
Right.
but for the Kalinga Police Department,
Yeah.
but anybody can do it, okay.
Outside and in, right? Outside and in?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go ahead and bring up number 5. Sean, would you like to, any questions on that?
Mary, if you want to come up here real quick, I'll show you. I got pictures on my phone so you understand what I'm talking about. So I'll show it to you guys too. Oh, yeah.
Mary, it's basically the landscape strip between the sidewalk and the curb and gutter down Sunset.
Well, I gotta find it real quick.
Make it look good. Make it look good.
Okay. So when we did Sunset Street, we left these strips and they're getting covered in weeds. Okay. So what I'm saying is, or what we're talking about is possibly just filling it in with cement or something else.
Does that extend all the way down the street? Or
Down
just in
Sunset.
certain sections?
Oh, yeah.
And what's being done about the part that's not covered on the corner of Madison and Sunset? There's a part on the sidewalk that's been broken.
It's done.
Is it done now?
On Sunset, yeah, it's been done. It was a punch list item getting out of the contractor.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody else like to pull anything from the audience? Seeing none, do we have a motion to accept or deny the consent calendar?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Just Does your motion include Councilman Atkinson's change to, which one
Yes,
was that, 5.3?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion and second. Roll call, please.
Councilman Ramirez,
Aye.
Councilman Atkinson,
Aye.
Councilman Horn,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Singleton,
Aye.
Mayor Ramsey.
I also vote aye. Okay, well, next we'll go to item number 6, ordinance presentation, discussion, and potential action items. Appoint new planning commissioner to the planning commission. Sean. Now you can come back.
All right, thank you, Mayor and Council. I think, hold on. All right, tonight, staff is recommending that the council appoint one new planning commissioner to the planning commission due to a recent vacancy. With the unfortunate recent passing of Commissioner Garza, there is currently a vacancy in the Coalinga Planning Commission, which will need to be filled. So in accordance with the municipal code, members of the planning commission shall be appointed by the city council. Any vacancy occurring on the commission shall be promptly filled by the council for the unexpired term of such member. Now, in this case, it would just be a new term because Mr. Garza's term was set to end in February. So we just waited to reappoint as we went through the advertisement process, and then this new commissioner would just start a new term. So in January, council directed staff to advertise for the vacancy. To gather interest in the position, staff advertised the available position as a public notice as well as on social media and the city's website, and staff received three applications. Staff received applications from Ken Stoppenbrink, Rocco Papietro, and Richard Hill. And then we attached copies of the applications for the council's review. Staff did advise all applicants that the city council would be considering an appointment to the commission at this meeting, and that it would be appropriate to attend should the council have any questions. So once the council is ready to appoint a candidate, member of the council shall make a motion nominating the member of the public to the commission and vote accordingly. So I will give you the floor, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Since we have two members here right now, I'd like to invite each one of them up and just give a statement if they'd like to. Ken first.
Good evening, Council. For 23 years combined on two separate terms of service with the Planning Commission, I had the privilege of serving the community, and I did enjoy it. And the last 5 years of the second term with the Planning Commission, I served as the chairman of the commission. When I retired 3 years ago from West Hills, I chose to step off the Planning Commission and pursue other things. And this opportunity, unfortunate the way it came about, came up, so I decided to go ahead and throw my hat in the ring and ask for your consideration. I served both with Richard Hill and Rocco on the Planning Commission when I was on there. They both were there at different times, and both are good individuals, and I have a lot of respect for their skill sets and abilities. But anyway, thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Rocco?
Rocco Papietro. I don't know what district, Keck Lane. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council, for entertaining tonight's appointment. I would like to say that it's interesting because when I've served on the Planning Commission for 15 years. I too left the Planning Commission because my job took me to San Luis Obispo and then on up to Folsom for the last 3 years, and I returned home where I retired. I came to Coalinga in 1978 to go to West Hills College and decided never to leave. Been here ever since. And from a very young man, I was always taught that if you're going to live in a community, you become part of that community and you give back to that community. And I've done several things within this to pay back, and I want to continue. The reason that I put my name in this time was for the fact that I wanted to be sure that the City Council's vision and the Planning Commission over the last 20 years is still moving forward, because I think we all have a vision for Coalinga, and we want to see that happen. We need citizens of this community that will step up and serve those roles to make sure that we're going down that path. I too Did not know that my fellow ex-planning commission members would be applying for this position. You will get a great member with any of the three. So trust me, there's no hard feelings whichever way you go. So thank you for the time.
Thank you, Rocco. Any questions from anybody? Okay, this is kind of tough. Because all three have done a great job, and they're all very community-minded, you know, so basically, we just have to make a decision among ourselves and pick one and see where we go from there. Anybody like to say anything?
Just that whoever does not get it, I hope there is no hard feelings, and I hope that you apply next time this comes up, because this is going to be a very difficult decision, and no matter who we pick, we're not going to have a bad pick. So I would really appreciate it if you don't get it, that you do reapply the next time it's available. I think you all are assets to the community.
Yeah, I agree with that too, and it's. I know both of you guys great, and Richard too. So, and you're all trying to stay really active in the community. So, would anybody like to make a motion?
I'm going to make a motion for Ken, and the reason why I'm making this motion is because I have served with him on a cannabis board before, and I know he is very well respected in the community. He's worked at the college for quite some time and made it up the ranks as vice chancellor or chancellor, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah,
Deputy chancellor, okay. And that's why, and it has nothing to do, I don't know you, and that's the only reason why. That's the only reason why I'm making this motion. It has nothing to do with anything else.
Okay, do we have a second, or do we have another motion?
Do we all select, right? Yeah. I like to select Mr. Hill. Throughout my years, even being young, in my high school years, I've seen him being involved in the community. Same with Mr. Rock. I seen you, and you guys are great. Like, no matter who we pick, we'll have a winner. All you guys are winners, and I'm actually very honored that you guys are applying. I mean, I'm gonna take your words. I've been here before the earthquake too, and I'm never gonna leave this town. You know, my kids could go, but I'm not. I'm staying. So, but I would like to nominate Mr. Hill.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else like to make a motion?
If I could say something, Mr. Hill isn't here. He did mention to me at the beginning of the meeting when he saw Ken and Rocco that he was going to bow out. So I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that earlier, so I apologize.
So Ron, I would make this very comfortable, because this is an awkward position for all you folks to be in. And I think in the past times, probably Ken and I both did this before. It was done before a subcommittee of the city council, and a recommendation was taken forward, so that you didn't get put in this awkward position. Therefore, because of this position that you're in today, I will bow out, because I do think that with any, I would put my name behind Ken or Richard. So to make that the easiest and to not have any hard feelings, because trust me, there is none on my side. That's exactly the way that I would go, and that way you don't all have to dance around this one.
Well, thank you. Anybody like to make a second on anything?
I'll second for Ken.
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded to have Ken Stopper and appoint him to our planning commission. Roll call, please.
Councilman Atkinson?
Aye.
Councilman Horn?
Aye.
Councilman Ramirez?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Singleton?
Aye.
Mayor Ramsey?
I don't know. Yeah, I vote aye. Well, thank you very much for everybody applying for it. And Rocco, thank you for getting us out of this awkward position. Okay, next, we'll go to discussion, direction, and potential action item related to the 2023 year water year in response to the USBR initial allocation announcement.
Mayor, Council, I feel like we were just here with water and we're back another year. On February 28th, the city received a letter from the United States Bureau of Reclamation. I think I put a copy on everyone's at the dais related to what we call the allocation letter. They did a press release the previous Friday and made the announcement that municipal and industrial, which is what we fall under as a contractor, they would be reducing water to 25% of historical, which is a similar percentage, if not the same percentage as it was the previous water year. And as you know, the water years start March 1st, so we currently are in the 2023 water year. So in that letter, the 25% basically represents 1,920 acre feet. We used 4,123 acre feet in the last water year. So 25% to us, and Larry and I have been analyzing a lot of the information regarding water usage from the previous water year, and that particular number is not going to be attainable for the city, obviously. So in the letter, the Bureau has requested that we submit a water schedule by March 10th, and then a public health and safety adjustment by the end of March. And so Larry and myself and Dan Bergman, our consultant, is working with, we're working on developing up a letter that will go out to the Bureau requesting what we are recommending. The council agree, hopefully, that we will request 4,100 acre feet of water based on our public health and safety adjustment. What will be different this year is staff will not be recommending a drought charge for various reasons, but continue the 1 day a week watering schedule up until it starts heating up, where the need for a second day would be necessary, and go 2 days a week during the summer. The caveat is that we have to actively enforce. We have a code enforcement officer that should be starting soon. And so we will need to be actively enforcing how we've done in previous years when we first started dealing with this drought back in 2008. And then as 2014 hit, those drought years, active enforcement with curtailing water will help. And based on what we can see from statistics, based on the different sectors of landscaping, commercial, residential, that we're confident that we should be able to attain that number with that approach. And so tonight, staff's just recommending that the council direct staff to prepare a letter with justifications to the Bureau, basically saying that our request for water this year will be 4,100 acre feet. And then most likely, as we get a response back from the Bureau regarding that letter, we'll be actively back to the council with either future action items or just clarifications on how we will approach the conservation efforts moving forward. So with that, I think I covered everything. So if you have any questions, the one thing I wanted to publicly state is to thank the city of Avenal. They had a little extra water left over from their request, and they were graciously to approve 150 acre foot to the city, which was basically an email to the Bureau to transfer that excess water to the city. Unfortunately, the city did still end in a negative, but it did cut that negative in half. So I thank the city council of City of Avenal and for the city manager for pushing that forward to the city council. So with that, if the council has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer any.
So do I understand it correctly that they're trying to allot us with 1,920 acre feet of water?
Yes, so what they do is the 25% of historical, it's historical of unconstrained years. So years where we don't have a restriction on our 10,000 acre foot contract. So when you average those three out, the amount, I think it's, Larry, do you know the number that we take the 25% off of?
No.
Okay. It's around 4,000 plus. Actually, no, it's a little bit more than that. But it's 25% of that historical average, which equates to 1920.
And we finished the year, we finished the year, are you talking on February 28th, just a few days ago, we finished with 4,320.
4,123.
4,123.
Give or take 3 acre-foot maybe.
Okay. And now we're asking for 4,100.
Yes.
Seems fair. Thank you, Sean.
Okay. Council, what would you like to do? You'd like to go with his recommendation, or do I have that in a motion?
I'll make a motion to go with your recommendations.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
It's been motion and second to go with staff's recommendation. Roll call, please.
Councilman Horn,
Aye.
Councilman Ramirez,
Aye.
Councilman Atkinson,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Singleton,
Aye.
Mayor Ramsey.
I also vote aye. Thank you. Thank you, Sean. Okay, next we go to announcements. City manager, do you have any announcements?
I have none.
Council members, do you have any announcements?
Don't forget Mardi Gras this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay. Anybody else? I have no announcements myself. Any future agenda items?
I'd like to continue, I don't know, if Mr. Warren's gonna continue with the dog park, or any of the councilmen is gonna continue with the dog park. I would like to kind of move a little bit forward and then see where we could get any graphs or pictures or.
That was what this was right here.
Okay, all right.
They'll take care of it.
Okay, so we're to go. Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, we have one closed session. It's an employee organization, the non-representative employees. Do we have anything that we will report afterwards?
No, it is general and non-represented employees,
Okay,
though.
I'm sorry, general and non-representative. Okay, there's probably nothing to be enclosed, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and close for closed session. Thank you for coming tonight.